Welcome back to another episode of the Broker's Brew. I haven't done one of these in a while, so apologies because I know people like tuning into the shorter ones. But if you haven't listened to a Broker's Brew episode before, my name's Chris. I'm the host of the Marketing Mortgages Social for Brokers podcast. And what we normally do is have a chat with specialists in the mortgage industry, people that have run mortgage businesses, and I interview them and ask them questions that I know you guys want to hear and what's made them so successful. The format of this podcast is me, a cup of tea. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see it's full to the brim, ready to drink. And I'm chatting through some of the things that are relative at the moment in terms of social media marketing. I'm talking to you about updates. I'm giving you the insight into everything marketing so you don't have to. I'm going to bring all the information to you. We come to you with loads of lead generating tips, ways to improve your social media presence, and best practices when it comes to marketing. So we touch on the likes of email marketing and website marketing as well. But today we are going to be going into social media, and we're going to be talking about 3 tips that you can use to boost your engagement levels on social media. And it's all about the comments on social media posts. And I'm going to give you some really easy things that you can do today as soon as you turn this podcast off or whilst you're listening to this podcast. If you do listen to this podcast and you are doing these tips as we speak, take a photo, tag me in Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, wherever you may be, and I'll comment on it and share it back to our audience just to show you what's happening with social media. So, what is it all about? Well, I'm going to show you the best way to use comments, not only to help you increase the interaction on your social media posts, but it'll also help you forge stronger relationships with other local businesses. And if you've listened to one of these before, I'm not about generating national mortgage leads because it's so hard to do that without a massive budget and loads of different types of marketing. I'm talking about owning your town. And if you can own your town, there are more than enough leads for you in your local town. But what happens when you increase interaction on your social media posts? So we've talked about increasing the bond between you and local businesses, but you're strengthening that bond between you and your audience as well. We want to make it that strong when it comes to needing mortgage advice. They don't think about anybody else whatsoever. They purely only think about you, and you want to be front of mind. Most people fail with this when I've taught this in the past because they're selfish with their social media content, right? We want people to interact with our stuff. We think our stuff is the best, and we think people should share it and like it and comment on it, but we don't actually repay the favor the other way. And what you've got to think is the world doesn't revolve around you and your content. Okay. So you've got to get out that mindset to start with. You've got to get out the mindset of people should comment on my posts. Instead, flip it and think, what can I comment on? And I promise you, your comments will come. Okay. So the first tip is be as social as you can on social media. So word social in there for a reason. I'll take a sip of this brew before I move on to the tips within this. So if you want to get comments on your post, you've got to show them some love first. So what I would do, this is an actionable tip, reserve half an hour or an hour every single week where you can sit down and go through 10 companies that you know locally that you can comment on their social media posts. So it might be a local estate agent where you comment on some of their houses and say, these look fantastic, would be great for a first-time buyer. Or it might be a local bakers or cake shops. Those cakes look incredible. We'll make sure we have to come down and see them. If you give a little, you'll get a little back, okay? But the main thing is you've got to make sure that these comments are genuine and actually relate to what they've posted. So going back to the cafe, you might ask a question to start a conversation about their meal that they've come out. You might share a post of a local gardener to your page. Nobody really likes that, I'll call it the copy and paste job. You've got to make sure you engage on those posts with something meaning and relevant, okay? Second point is make sure you respond to any any comments, and try and get the conversation going, okay? You've got to think, when Mary Smith sat on her sofa and she takes the time to comment on your post, you can't leave them hanging. You've got to make sure you respond to that comment. That might be the first comment that they've ever left on a social media post, and you've just kind of left it blank. You know what I mean? What is it like, like the Wild West where there's that tumbleweed rolling through the air? That's how they feel. What you've got to do is make sure you respond to that comment. But the second thing is, try and ask a question if you can. Okay, so say Mary Smith comments on a customer review that's talking about first-time buyers or something like that. They might then put on their great job, and then you could just put back to Mary, "Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much for leaving us a review. If you haven't done so already, would you mind leaving us one?" That might then prompt a response to them, responding with another comment, but it shows that you're interacting with your audience. Where you want to ask a question, there might be you've uploaded a photo of a cake from a local cafe, or you've shared a post of their new cakes, and Mary Smith comments on there going, "Oh my God, that looks absolutely incredible." You can then respond and say, "Mary, they were insanely good. Have you ever had a cake from this one before?" They might then respond, and you're increasing the amount of comments on that post. Now, as humans, we're naturally nosy. So if we see a post with 4 comments on it or 10 comments on it, we're much more likely to click on the post that has 10 comments on it. And that click on the comment can count as an interaction on your post. So it's signifying to Facebook or to Instagram that people are interested in the content that you're putting out there. So when you put a post about business out there, Facebook and Instagram will naturally push it out to more people for you. Okay? Remember, you can do the same thing on other people's posts as well. You can ask questions in other people's posts. Again, it shows that you have a genuine interest in their social media content, and that increases the chances of them commenting on your content in the future as well. Okay? All right, this brew's going to go cold by the end of this podcast. And then the third tip is asking the right questions, okay? If you want more comments on your posts themselves, sometimes it's as simple as asking a question. But remember, don't make it all about the business, because you'll hardly get any responses. And you've probably seen this. You might see another mortgage broker that puts a post out about fixed rate mortgages, and they might then put a question on there: whose mortgage is up before the end of 2024? That doesn't get interaction on it, because it's, one, I think it's too personal. People aren't going to be talking about mortgages. But two, mortgages are boring. Let's be honest. I say this all the time. You've got to do something that asks a question that makes it a bit different. So it could be as simple as a photo of you with a brew on social media, and is it tea or coffee for you in the morning? That's it. It might seem really, really simple, but it's much more likely to spark a conversation than whose fixed rate is up for renewal this year. Okay. It might be that you share a local gardener's post. You could kind of do two things here. You could share local gardener's post and write a comment as the post saying, really good tips about how to look after your lawn this winter. Who has had the last cut of the year already? So you are then sharing a local business's post, but then you're trying to get your audience to interact with you. It's all about asking those questions. The more comments that you get then on the bottom of that post, here's a perfect example. As I'm recording this, it's National Curry Week coming up. And what always goes down well is you uploading a post saying, what's the best curry house in the area? Now, Facebook can't tell if that's Facebook and Instagram can't tell that if you've uploaded a business post or a more personal post of the local area. They just see loads of comments rolling in on that. Loads of people then might go, oh, so-and-so is the best. No, this place is the best. No, I completely disagree with you. This place is the best. See how you're bringing people to your page. And what it will do, it will draw other people to your page that don't follow you in the initial instance. So it gives them a good reason for them to follow you, because you're sharing local businesses and they can see that their friends are interacting with this page. They're much more likely to follow you than Smith's Mortgages down the road. And I feel really bad when I say Smith's Mortgages because I use that as an example. There probably is a mortgage broker company out there called Smith's Mortgages, and I'm really sorry because I always use you as the example, as a comparison. But compared to Smith's Mortgages down the road that only post about mortgages and only post about the base rate, who are people going to choose? Are they going to choose the people that comment on other people's stuff, get interaction from their friends, insert a bit of fun, or do they go with Smith's Mortgages that hardly upload anything? Okay. So go and take those 3 tips today, put them into practice straight away. Let's recap them. The first one, if you want to get people to comment on your post, you have to go out there and comment on other people's posts as well. Okay. The second thing is respond to the comments. Okay. Keep the conversation going. Don't just like that comment and leave it. Respond to Mary Smith. Try and ask her a question off the back of her comment. And then the third one is ask the right questions to your audience. Now, don't forget, these can be done in the likes of Instagram stories. They can be done on Facebook posts. They can be done on LinkedIn posts. You can do them anywhere. But ask questions that are going to get a response. Don't ask them about mortgages. The mortgage business content come later. We are asking questions to engage our audience. So dogs or cats, tea or coffee, which cake is the best out of these 2 from the local Jones bakery. Put those 3 things into practice. Do them consistently for 6 months. And I promise you, you will see an increase in your followers, your engagement and business off the back of it. Hope that helps. And if you have liked this episode, please share it with another mortgage broker that you know that you think would get value from it, because we're trying to spread the word as far and as wide as possible. Thank you for listening. I'm going to go and finish this brew and we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.